Welcome back, guys, and if you're just joining us and you notice that screen, Jin Air, in fact, is up 1-0 over the Afreeca Freecs. You missed it. If you weren't here, they finally broke their losing streak of 17 games in a row, and they won the 18th, and that means we are going to have a substitution on the side of Afreeca. Soul is out, and Aiming is in.
It sounded like you said substitution, which I was very confused by, but we'll go with the substitution here. Makes sense. Aiming comes in, out Soul. It's a Tushin reference
Isn't it pronounced the same way?
No, substitution.
Substitution. What?
Doesn't matter. Let's zoom in on what is happening.
Okay.
Notice that we're stopping, Valdez. We're stopping both this particular joke and also the substitutions. So that means Brook will be playing game number 2, and that is a bone that we have to pick with Afreeca Freecs. What does it mean that they can't field Sun or Yukal against Jin Air after losing game 1?
You know, I have no idea. I don't know why they would do this, but Afreeca have a different agenda. They will continue playing around just Kiin, and we've said it's not worth it before to kind of abandon the mid lane in the same time.
So a lot of people tweeting GladPlane at me, and you guys know we do not tweet GladPlane until there is a series victory from Jin Air GreenWings. They have to earn the happy plane that comes out there, and there's still a series to be played. And there's a very real chance we're here very late, Valdez. There's no reason. Couldn't be a full 6-game day.
Yeah.
Afreeca Freecs, how are they going to create this favorable matchup for Kiin that we can only hypothesize is the reason that they're running a substitute top laner in mid on the blue side? They don't have overall last pick this time. What do they want to first pick here? Because I don't feel like this needs to be a tier list draft from them. It should be very much about sleight of hand. We want to see some magic tricks from Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, I mean, they've gone down that path many times already this season to varying levels of success. Sometimes it works out in a big way. Sometimes it falls flat on its face. But either way, they're going to be straightforward with the Yorick ban. Not happy to play against that. Was banned in the second round by Afreeca. Now it's the first round that they have a little bit more wiggle room. There we go. On the blue side.
Now, they also have wiggle room in a different way, Valdez, because Aiming's in the lineup. So they'd be pretty confident with him playing some awesome dudes, right? Maybe we need to start picking up things like Cassiopeia and other stuff, but they quickly slam that one down. Chance it's Kiin's pick, of course, but they do have the chance of a lot of 3-way flexes now with the lineup they have out there, and maybe even 4-way flexes. The flexes could get pretty tricky when you have Kiin in the lineup, you have Brook in the lineup, so 2 top laners, you have also Dread, who plays a lot of crazy jungle picks, and Aiming that plays some mages. So we'll wait and see what the choices are. On the side of Jin Air, they first picked the Galio, so it would make sense they would first round Galio again. Galio Tristana was not the lane we expected, but the lane we got pretty damn well. Kalista Galio has kind of been the strongest 2v2 laning Kalista lane that we've seen, or Galio lane, I should say, that we've seen. But let's see what the prize is on the side of Jin Air. No junglers have been banned, so jungle pool is full, and they're just going to go full Kalista Galio and look for some answering picks on the red side.
They want to see what Afreeca's packing before they pick any other lanes here. You would have to imagine. As we saw the Vi flash there for a second.
Our analysis hasn't changed on Jin Air, but remember, we were praising them for an easy-to-execute draft. Maybe you just Jarvan first round and start banning, just to have that engage draft. The Galio Kalista only do one thing, and that's engage really hard. Can actually double disengage in some crazy ways as well, but they are a team fighting duo, and we want to see Jin Air draft strong in the team fighting. We do not trust this team to be able to play the 3-lane split push. Afreeca will take the Sylas, that I'm sure you're excited to see.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to combo with Alistar. So Lucian Alistar, pretty strong 2v2. They don't go Lucian Braum, which was available, but they kind of messed up on some of their play in the previous games, adjusting their approach to the duo lane. Do we see the Jarvan we mentioned, or do we see a different approach from Jin Air? They can have no idea, truly, where this Sylas is going, and I see the hover I wanted to see. Feeling good.
Jarvan comes out. Thought maybe we could see Lissandra as well if they wanted to pick that a little bit earlier and secure it for Grace, who did have a pretty nice game on the Lissandra. But They do not want that Jarvan to be banned, and they will go ahead and start banning junglers of their own away from Dread.
We get the fun interaction of knowing who the Kalista passive is used on the side of Afreeca, because they have the Silas, so there will be a Kalista passive. You would assume Alistar, just because it's Alistar, the champion, who I think is that much better with the Fate's Core availability than almost any other champ in the game, just because of how much wombo crowd control he brings and how much safety it brings him. So we'll probably see that. Anything else would be interesting. Rek'Sai Olaf's too strong. Tempo jungle is banned away here. Dread would have to go into something like the Kiin or Lee Sin, you would think, based on his usual pool. But Nocturne is one you like against Kalista, but with Galio and Jarvan already, the risk there and the fact that it doesn't have a lot of agency pre-level 6 might keep Dread away from the pick.
May just be playing around route today, as the Karma will be hovered, probably going into the mid lane here for Grace.
Could be top lane as well for Lindarang. Like you say, a negating pick that's largely about teamfight utility. Afreeca have to show their hands, and the good thing about the Karma here is if you get super crazy lock-ins, could still be 2 solo laners in a jungle Silas, Karma can always lane. She is one of the strongest blind pick laners at living. Yes, you might not always win in CS, but a lot of matchups actually work really well for Karma, and at worst, ranged auto attacker with ranged wave clear. So I don't mind the Karma when you are lacking information. Seems like the information is going to be a bit more clear if we do see the Lee Sin lock-in, because Aatrox, of course, is known as a very often jungle pick, and this would be moving away from that. You would think Kiin on the Silas and Brook on the Aatrox if we do see Lee Sin locked in, and it will be.
Does mean that the Silas will be the only guy doing any AP damage on the side of Afreeca. So we'll see what kind of build he does go for. And we still got to wait on our last pick here on the side of Jin Air. You would expect this to be for the top lane, as hovering the Darius now for Lindarang.
He's actually one of our legacy Darius players. He picked up a lot of wins on Humble Life Esports on the Darius.
Okay.
And they take Corki. So, here's what Jin Air were thinking about. They're like, how can we lose this game?
I love the disdain in your voice when you say Corki.
See,
not a big fan.
I actually don't have huge disdain here. I think you might be mishearing that one, just purely because here's the thing for Jin Air. A lot of teams would have taken Fiora, because you're almost 100% sure it's going to be the Aatrox matchup, and Fiora runs away with that. But then it's a champion that's disconnected from 5v5. So instead, they go ultra safety. They want to farm it out in the mid lane, and they take Karma into whatever lane ends up going top. We were thinking Kiin would be on the Silas. Right now, that's not the assignment. We'll see if it changes. And no, Brook will be playing Silas this game. So we'll see if Kiin can put his licorice carry pants on in this game. Different approach than we might have expected. And the Corki does mean it's another champion who does need a bit of time and doesn't pile on as clearly or as easily as something like Lissandra.
Does mean we could be waiting a little bit longer this time around for Jin Air's composition to get online, where, as you look at the side of Afreeca, maybe Dread this time on an aggressive jungler can get his team ahead here in game number 2.
And that's the thing, is you do actually have lanes that are ripe to be ganked. Karma and Corki, yes, they can be frustrating, but they're squishy champions, so with the right coordination around someone like Kiin in particular with all his experience, maybe you can just kill Karma twice, and yes, Karma's build is cheap, but if you're building utility from behind, your lane presence is basically 0. And you can potentially be snowballed upon through there. So, action on Dread. He's not this time on the Sejuani and really being, dogging it in the draft, trying to let his other laners get ahead. He's now got a more of a power pick, and especially post-level 6, there's a lot of squishy peoples to kick, and potentially kick into a lifeline for Afreeca Freecs.
We'll see how this goes here, jumping into game 2 now. Well, the Jin Air chant for game 1 was pitiful. I think I heard 2 people say Jin Air fighting. This time around, I heard at least 6, so we're definitely moving up.
They're multiplying, Valdez. That's what we're learning about Jin Air fans. Sadly, today is a notable day. We already talked about it. The Jin Air did break that losing streak, but sadly, Corki not available. I'm not sure if you know this, but I am a huge Corgi lover, because I used to have a Corgi named Rumble when I was in Australia. Only bone I have to pick, because obviously Corki has been alluded to for a long time and never actually
the only bone
released.
you have to pick, yeah.
I actually didn't intend that one, but it sounded good, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
The only bone I have to pick with Riot Games is I would have named it Korgi. Maybe that's because I've been in Korea too long and I now jumble all my words together, but
Korgi.
yeah, that's what I would have done. Korgi is just too much of a mouthful. But I am happy to see the skin, and next patch, hopefully, we'll see more of it.
So you like Korgi, but you don't like Pugmaw.
No, not at all. I hate it.
So just walk me through this one. What exactly is the difference, and why do you like one and not the other?
I'm Pupsmith.
That's not an explanation.
That's all you're going to get, I'm sorry to say.
Wow.
And Brook's not going to get a lot of hijack value out of the Corki. It's not that much fun to steal away Corki's ultimate, so it's not going to be a high-value steal for him in this particular case. Brook walks up, be able to trade at least, and it is E level 1, and remember that was base damage buffed ages ago, so it is going to be a bit of a world of pain, at least in early levels.
I actually played this matchup recently. Corki versus Silas.
Takeaways?
Just as you were mentioning, you know, he was firing out a couple of missiles, and I was just kind of laughing at him as, you know, the footwork and some pretty decent mobility means that he's not going to be hitting you with much of that, and in general, you're going to be harassing him a lot more than he's harassing you, so definitely feels like one of the easier lanes for a Corki.
But it's not one of the easier drafts for Jin Air. You know, we started off with epic easiness, right? We had the Jarv and Galio, like we hoped, the Callista to help with the pylon, but how Karma and Corki fit in are a little bit more finicky, right? It's more about power spikes and positioning. Not everyone's an initiator here. I guess Grace could do a Mickey impersonation and initiate with the package, but you know what I mean. It's more of a technical draft, and the ease of use, which was definitely S+ here in game number 1, is down to about a B-. So because of that, we're going to have to be a little bit more finicky about evaluation of Jin Air's play, and they're going to have to be a bit more on point around power spikes, and like we mentioned, not allow for repeated turret dives to feast upon some squishy solo laners in top and mid.
Squishy solo laners, as well as I was even thinking about some kind of dive in the bottom side if eventually they can get that push on. As it stands now, the Callista and Galio, the Galio specifically, if you do take the Q first, you were talking about it before, definitely helps out in terms of pushing, and so far doing a better job of that than the Alistair-Lucian combination.
This lane pretty strong at all points, but obviously level 6 with the Fate's Call is when Galio gets a big assistance, doesn't have to flash for all engages. Sees is here. Remember, he kind of got a gift gank in around level 2 to get game 1 rolling. Less gifts here, but ships in the night, these junglers. Dread in a good spot.
Yeah, trying to land that one with the flash, but they see the Lee Sin, and flash comes in though, and now Nova is in a ton of trouble. First blood, pretty easily. We'll go to the side of Dread in the Afreeca.
Seas just gave that one up really easily. Not sure if that was just a call from his support, being like, no, I'm done, but felt like there should have been a contest there, and instead a bit of happy feeding from Seas. He goes away, and now Flash is down, so until level 6, Galio, a bit of a sitting duck in the 2v2.
Definitely feels bad that they're going to give up some of that power they had in the lane with that play, but I suppose they wanted to lose the least amount after flashing in and committing already.
It's a hard commitment, but this is really good pathing from Dread to be ahead of the play. He's there for the counter gank, or just a proactive play, and obviously it just falls into his lap. And seem a lot more joyous on the side of Afreeca. Remember, Afreeca's last win, we had tears in the audience, right? They were super moved to see Afreeca win. Two squads that have done very little winning so far this season, and it's a single game for Jin Air, and the 2-0 dream is not one I think even the most one-eyed Jin Air fan would have been predicting.
As in goes Dread again, really trying to slow down this Galio that doesn't have his flash, but he has Aftershock, which again is a good rune. Means that some of that damage will be mitigated, and it also means that Dread can take this Scuttle and be pretty happy about that.
It's a pretty big experience lead. I would say a level and a half feels like the lead right now. C's is still level 4, and it's almost level 5. Okay, it's more like 1 level. We get the ping there, but Lee Sin will have level 6 early. Just like our first series, the Drakes are pretty good early. So with Afreeca finding a lot more success in their 2v2, they should actually grow a CS lead now that Galio's flash is down. And we're looking for a Hex Flash engage.
Okay, well, they should have known they were there, and now Nova with no flash is going to be another sitting duck here. Heal does come in, but the flash from aiming means that down again will go the Gargoyle.
The assurances are always a little bit less when we're down the bottom of the table. Like so many of our series this week, we're going to have top of the table and bottom of the table action. So went too far. Hex Flash does the rest of the work, and while Grace is brawling a little bit better than Brook in the mid lane, Arma actually is in a CS disadvantage against Aatrox, and you don't want to see that. It's not a good one.
The thing I didn't really understand about that is they saw the ward come over the wall, so they must have known that at least one person is in there. They go in for the face check and they get punished hardcore, which means that they give up priority in the bottom side, die again, and they give away the Infernal. So definitely a couple of mistakes from the side of Jin Air this time around.
Sees visual bugs into a bad gank. Actually, never actually came onto screen here. Brook doesn't know about that. Hooray for visual bug analysis.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of the tricks of visual bugs. I'm becoming an expert in them. Just like when the patch updates and I have to read the notes, I'm coming up to date in this new hell we live in terms of visual bugs. Yeah, really weird for Senan to be that far up. Sorry, for Senan to be that far up makes sense, but for Nova to be that far up with no flash and no Fate's Call is a head scratcher, and it's another in the good column for Dread, who's been felt on the map and will have a pretty soon level 6 advantage as well.
Well, it just felt like, you know, they had a control ward and they saw the trinket ward placed, so they know somebody's in that brush. That's the only place you can place that ward from. Unless that ward was another visual bug, which, you know, that would be next level. I doubt it was. And then even after they clear that ward, they still walk forward as if welcoming a fight, which is the other part I didn't understand. So either way, Jin Air will have to make up for their mistakes here, as he was thinking about a gank on the top side, but not going to go for it, as instead he'll go ahead for an invade at the blue buff.
And this is a small problem for Jin Air's draft that's kind of coming to the forefront now, is when bottom lane actually starts, you know, losing multiple kills. Where does Jarvan go? You never want to gank the Karma lane, because Aatrox can just, you know, just hop over the wall, right? It only takes an E to get out of the Jarvan ulti there, so there's no threat for Karma and Jarvan onto a level 7 Aatrox who hasn't had his passive or flash used. Mid lane, you don't want to gank for Corki, kind of self-explanatory there, and also Brook has a way to skip around, so bot lane's really the only great place to go, and now bot lane's a great place to go for Afreeca. They're piling on.
Yeah, this was the dive I was talking about, as Fate's Call does come in. But that cannot save the Kalista, as down she will go pretty easily 4-on-2.
Bullying is the right way to go for Afreeca. Another endorsement bullying by Papa Smithy in the LCK. Take down the turret plates, extend the lead. In Kalista we trust is looking futile, and Karma and Jarvan picking up turret plates just holds nowhere near the value of the members of Afreeca, who are going to use those items right now way more strongly.
Lee Sin gonna be happy, the Lucian gonna be happy, of course, as they're desperately trying to get this last plate. Can they? Looks like they will be able to.
And actually the timing of when this happened is even more important. Consider this play happened at 9 minutes, meaning there was no Rift Herald to answer on the other side of the map. So if you can skip out and make a turret dive now and not have a Rift Herald as a penalty, it makes the play cleaner, and it was pretty well executed from the side of Afreeca. They have this pretty young lineup without a lot of experience, but from ahead with advantages. You expect it to be more cerebral, more solo queue style in terms of being able to pile on and make aggressive plays. Dread looks so much more at home away from Sejuani duty, so that was the prison he was not looking for in game number 1. Corki last pick, leading to Corki Karma solo lanes, means that C's kind of just has to wait for an opportunity bot lane, or just wait for some items, and by that point, maybe there'll be too many advantages stacked up on the side of Afreeca. Jin Air actually just rushing the Rift Herald here. Yeah. They don't want to go bot lane again with no summoners on Kalista and no ultimates. They're just trying to find something on the map. I actually think that's smart, but they're going to have to fight for this, and they don't have the items to do so.
Will be 5-on-4, though, as aiming is way out of position, going for the push here. It's enough Ren stacks that it should go the way.
Okay.
And okay, Packet's going to come in and try to separate the team, as down will go Gallios. He's going to pick that one up. Big time Cataclysm, but the damage isn't there as Senan was zoning out everybody else. And so it will be a trade of a kill for the Rift Herald, but still Afreeca going to go on the push in the mid lane.
They're going to threaten a dive here. Here comes the TP, can't be cancelled, of course. Grace is going to be able to get away. That was actually pretty significant. They could have lost a further member. Turret plays being cashed in on both sides. They're leaving the solo gold to the Kalista, you'll notice, on the top side. Karma just fully backed. Karma, like we mentioned, is going to be a bit of a caster minion with some shields in this game. She is pretty far behind. Even in CS, 75 CS as Karma top is pretty woeful, but at this point it's because she's packing up and leaving lanes a lot.
Looks like a small thing, but Grace is actually denying and delaying these backs so many times, as he's going to delay it again. And continue his push in the mid lane. The fact that he was able to get there with this teleport and stop that push from being the response from Afreeca is actually pretty big. Denies a bunch of those plates and even the turret from going down.
Because aiming went bot lane, he can only get the end of the turret, and then he kind of happy foots. So they're not actually getting huge solo golden experience on the Lucian as this play happens. So it ends up being a kill for Rift Herald, which, as we know, given what Jin Air was, a pretty good trade for Jin Air. That part isn't too bad, to be honest. And specifically because aiming wasn't already mid lane, his lane assignment of bot when the turret was almost dead didn't mean much. They don't actually lose as much as they should have, so it's a VOD review point for Afreeca, who are 4-0 up, who have the first Infernal. The coaching staff won't be happy about how that play played, because it should have been more of a lose-lose for Jin Air. It ended up being pretty even.
Not so bad after all. They do have a couple of 80 carries with the Karma, so they'll be looking towards this late game. They're only down about 2.4, which, again, at 12 minutes, it is a hefty amount, but for Jin Air, you know, they've been in worse situations before. We'll see if they can climb out of this hole in Game 2.
There's definitely team fights with Corki's items and Kalista's items coming in that they win in a gold deficit. It's very possible in this game that could happen. So like you say, touching distance may be all they can accept right now. And maybe that's all they'll get. But it might be enough for Jin Air. You know, there's definitely not out of this game just yet. However, Kiin has the most CS on his team. He's starting to come together, and there's a real chance that Lindarang won't be able to enter lane way earlier than we could have anticipated with just how innately strong Karma is as a laner against the Aatrox. And that's the sort of plot twist that the Jin Air coaching staff wouldn't have been ready for.
Waiting for this Corki to slowly get online. Corki nowadays, of course, even with all the different changes to 80 carry builds and item builds and stuff like that, will still rush for the Trinity Force first and then move into other items. Definitely it reminds me of the old days where it was just Trinity Force into some kind of Zeal item into Infinity Edge, and you have a pretty nice 3-item kind of core that you eventually get to.
You actually have more interesting choices now, because even when IE was changed, that was kind of always the build, right? Rapid Fire Cannon IE. Now you can go IE second if you have the right gold values and just burst people. It is a bit RNG based, you really want the crit, right? But 25% crit being on IE makes it a possible magic damage crit opener very early in the game. So you have a lot of ways. I think most people go into Rapid Fire Cannon because it builds easier. You can just go back and get daggers and gloves along the way.
Also, that poke you were talking about,
sure.
The one auto into a missile or a Q or something like that is pretty huge burst damage when you do have the Trinity Force. So does remain reliable as, you know, compared to the more RNG IE build that you're talking about now.
And there's that moment where Play the Ruin King Hurricane and some magic damage crits you're faced with as Afreeca, and early in the game you can't answer both of them, right? There's no way to be able to answer the amount of mixed strong damage that could happen on the side of Jin Air. So I think Rapid Fire Cannon will be the go-to, but waiting to see the full information there. Sees, much like Dread in the previous game, kind of throwing down flags on the defensive. But Jin Air looking to stabilize. They just need core items on Corki and Kalista. That's the big one. Get 2 items on those 80 carries, and there's more than a hope and a prayer that Jin Air can win some sort of skirmish or 5v5.
See also what I was talking about before, how the Sylas is the only AP damage on the side of Afreeca. We already have triple Ninja Tabi. The other 2 boots are not completed, so we may even see 5 Ninja Tabi in this game, as nobody respects Sylas's AP damage. We'll see what the choices are eventually, especially when you have Lucian, Aatrox, Lee Sin. I think it makes sense to just build against that.
If you see that, do you go Lich Bane, or do you stick with your Iceborne Gauntlet, Spirit Visage kind of approach? It's kind of what I'm interested to see from Brook. Because if you see all Ninja Tabbies, then yeah, you should be doing a lot of damage. So we'll wait and see what comes from the side of Afreeca Freecs. role swapped top laner, now mid laner for the last couple of series. Dread walks up. He still has his kick. He still has the ability to single out one person. But moments like this, where Seas increases the minion wave, Corki gleefully accepts it, are good moments for Jin Air, and Afreeca haven't found a meaningful way to open up a lead outside of something easy, like waiting for a Mountain Drake to spawn.
Yeah, essentially just sitting back. They don't have any pressure onto Grace that has his package right now. Now they do have pressure on a Lindarang with Kiin up a level and an item and a half here up against not that tanky of a Karma.
But killing the Karma is harder, right? Because tether, shield, speed up, and a flash. But you're right, definitely have the pressure around it. That's the side you want to keep warded to allow Kiin to get cheeky auto after cheeky auto on the target. I don't know if he has Demolish. Possible that he does as well. Try to get those Demolish procs off as well. But what they don't want is the top side, where Sylas is pushing in minion waves to Kalista, who uses the early gold better than Sylas. 2 items on Kalista. What she's looking for to be teamfight ready. Jin Air desperately need this game to read 35,000 gold, and Afreeca to not have an insane gold lead at that point. That's what they want. They want to keep it around this mark. Come that point, we're chasing from multiple angles, but it's going to take a while to kill Brook.
Yeah, he does have his TP, but there's so much CC in these two guys as the taunt is going to go wide, and Brook just going to attempt to trade here up against Root. Does have the life gain, but is not going to work out. But of course, that does mean 3 people to go for 1 Sylas, and the rest of Afreeca will use that time to take their own turn.
And that's probably the not worth part. Yes, it's a kill, and it's gold onto Kalista, but you lose mid lane turret, and your ability to control the pace of the game with mid lane turret up, kind of infinite, right? I remember casting LPL Spring 2015 with Azir Xerath wave clear until 35 minutes. That can happen when you have that outer mid lane turret. When the mid lane turret is gone, and then Lee Sin and Alistar have interesting ways, even Kiin on this Aatrox, to approach and flank mid lane, things get trickier. So they make a trade here that I'm not a huge fan of, but it does get gold on Kalista, and we'll wait and see how close to that second item the Kalista gets from this.
Not much analysis here, Papa. I suppose you don't have much to say about this.
The analysis is, do they leave the kill for Kalista? If the answer is no, it's actually a really bad play overall. Because Kalista gets the gold and is now 1,000 gold short, let's say, of the Hurricane, then it becomes a little bit more of a line game.
I do like that, and I'm sure Jin Air are going to like their situation when they do eventually get those items. Probably the Rapid Fire Cannon and the Hurricane you were mentioning for that Kalista. Just one step closer here, as you guys can see in the items.
I like the build path. We're seeing a lot more flat pen or lethality Lee Sin come out since Casper Cup. Watching Lindarang just run away. You want to go threats on the side of Afreeca, and then now with this longer map, find picks. Because Lee Sin, full combo onto Corki, Karma, or Kalista is going to be doing 80% of their health, and you would imagine there's backup there. So you feel so emboldened as Dread to walk up, build damage, and get picks now before Jin Air can dot their I's and cross their T's with their, we have 2 80 carries, let's get some shields on them comp. You want to get picks, and you want to catch Jin Air in transition, and Jin Air, of course, have less experience in transition, and from behind have been caught very frequently. So we're seeing 2 items on Lucian, right now the strongest person on the Rift. Anything hits from Alistar or Lee Sin, people gonna die.
And it does feel like Jin Air know that, as you can see they're threatening but not actually engaging, and kind of just letting objectives fall because they are able to identify, hey, we can't really fight yet. And you know, feels bad that you're losing a lot, but I feel like overall it's probably a good decision, because if they do go for a fight, you're risking so much to not allow your 80 carries to scale and to fight in a position when you're not ahead.
The correct decision for Jin Air, one that they've made mistakes on previously, is give the enemy the drakes. Someone will say, but think of how big the Elder is, Papa Smithy. However, Jin Air's goal is to get 35 to 40,000 gold and then choose to fight. So if you fight before then and lose because the enemy has earlier spikes and more gold, then actually you don't have a game plan. You probably just straight up lose because your windows are starting to close. So you need to be patient, and that's hard to say for a team like Jin Air. If they'd lost game number 1, you know they would have got frisky, right? And be like, well, we don't want to lose 20 times in a row and then make a really big error. Instead, they're coming off a victory, so you're kind of seeing what Jin Air looks like off a victory. They may have made some mistakes, but the mental overall, the mental game is not lost for Jin Air in this one, as we get the zoom in to confirm that they held onto the Callisto passive long enough for the ultimate fun. It's not the Alistar. Alistar's actually going to take a step back. This Lee Sin can pull off plays that even Insec in his prime didn't have the tools to access.
Yeah, it's the new age of fun here with Lee Sin.
Now you start thinking about what could happen, and it gets outrageous. Right? Think of the engage range of max range Fate's Call, QQ, W, Kick Flash. You can do insane things with this setup. I don't know if we've ever seen a pro game with Lee Sin having the Callisto passive. Probably never.
I don't think so. Not in my recent memory. And
this is going to be potential 0.25 speed stuff from the Lee Sin.
You were talking about the range. It's probably mid-turret to mid-turret, to be honest. It's near that range, which is pretty insane.
What's Fate's Core range? Like 900 maybe? I know that the Lee Sin Q is, I think, 12 or 1300. So we're talking, if you add everything together, we're talking like 3500 range, right? Is possible if you hit the Q at max range. You can do a lot of insane stuff here. So this could be another reason that you can't miss this series, because how often will you get Lee Sin with the Fate's Call active?
And then we get another chance for Jin Air to win a series if they do lose this one. So could get interesting as this does go along.
Important note, he hasn't stolen the Fate's Call just yet. I'm actually going to get a pause. Hopefully not Silas ult related on this one.
Yeah, that is the hope, as we've had actually 2 pauses today. That's more than I'm used to, as we've gotten pretty good at avoiding pauses here at the LCK 2019.
We dive straight into them, and it sounds like
they're like, somehow we found ourselves in the Jin Air fan seats, and maybe they'll actually win. Maybe, let's go to the first win.
Well, if we look over, the Jin Air side is, I would say, about 30% full, maybe less. I think the Jin Air fans, understandably, are not rushing to LoL Park in order to watch their team lose more. So maybe next time they'll be able to get a bit more front rows. It seems like the mouse issues have become contagious.
Even from series to series, as she doesn't want to show any of the rest of that sign. I wonder why, but the bottom says Jin Air Whiting with a sad vein, perhaps? The pink goggles.
It looked like a vein to me.
Yeah.
Some more stoic members of our crowd as we zoom in on the offending mouse. Getting an awkward shot here, but hopefully it's a problem that can be resolved very quickly. The game is very finely poised right now. I like where Afreeca is at. It seems like Jin Air will make a mistake or try to look for a fight they shouldn't be taking yet, but they haven't made that mistake yet. Jin Air GreenWings, they're actually letting us grow some expectations. When it came to what to expect from a Jin Air series 2 weeks ago, it was kind of despair from minute 1, but we are seeing Jin Air look a bit more in earnest. They look like a team that is getting better, which unfortunately took far too long in terms of best of 3s played. Kiin just seems generally annoyed to be alive, and you can kind of understand where he's at right now.
I think that puts it very succinctly for his feelings about Spring 2019. As we said it before, he definitely feels like a guy that was kind of mismatched. It's like a draft of a beer league, and you get like the best player on your team as the first pick, but that means that like all these other teams have to pick, and then eventually it comes around to your second pick, and you just have a bunch of guys that are so much worse than the first pick who's trying to carry but desperately cannot.
It feels like if you're an independent roster auditor, which I guess we are as pundits, right? We go out there and we say, nice roster changes, bad roster changes. If you went to and looked down the roster of Gen G, KT, and Afreeca, you would definitely look at that and be like, really, guys, like, this is the best we could do. Like, there's some amazing talent on those rosters, but the 5s are where things are falling apart, right? They're not actually, they're way less as a pool of, say, 15 players than the sum of their parts. So at the end of the day, there's definitely been some dodgeball games that you want to do over on. And I feel like already you can guarantee Afreeca, Gen G, and KT want to do over on LCK Spring 2019. Jin Air as well, for different reasons, but coming off their first game victory in a long time. They've doubled their victories, Valdez, is a serious point we can make. And we can also confirm we're back to the game.
Okay, not much of a mouse issue, no Silas issue or anything like that, so we're all good to go. As Kiin is 6 levels ahead of Nova. That's not the mouse issue. He's also 7 levels ahead of his own support, the Alistair, somehow.
That's one of the biggest numbers. I don't know if I've seen much more than 7 levels ahead of anyone. That's outrageous, but Kiin has had way better a laning phase into Karma than he should have. I think Lindarang has misplayed that lane. The whole point of the Karma lane was Jarvan's not going to go there, at least go okay. And this is less than okay. It's 190 CS at 23 minutes with very little in terms of turret plates and things like that outside of gank attempts and Rift Herald usage. Of course, it is also because he's taking a back seat for other people who have rotated through his lane. Afreeca Freecs no doubt frustrated that it was a 4th spawn Ocean in this game, but it will slowly be taken down by Kiin.
It's a far cry away from double Infernal into Mountain that Jin Air got in game number 1. And how about a 3rd Ocean for the Afreeca Freecs?
Oh, that's so tilted. That's where you know that the LCK gods are definitely Jin Air fans.
At least you know that Drake number 6, if they get it to spawn, won't be an Ocean Drake. So they'll be happy about that.
Would they prefer an Infernal or a Mountain? Do you just assume Infernal because there's so many stats to multiply there? I would just probably go Infernal, but both of them are pretty great. There's not really a low roll option there. I want to see, wouldn't it be awesome if it was a 4th Ocean Drake? And then we get the pause and they're like, really guys, really?
We're going to have to remake.
Or a cloud pops up and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, not actually possible.
I mean, Jin Air won in the 18th time of trying, so the realms of possibility are definitely growing. They were in a gank brush-like spot.
They still are.
That's actually pretty creative stuff. It's hard to create a gank brush with no brush, but they did it. However, just means Fate's Call is used, and Kiin says, how about a flank? Speaking of flanks.
Yeah, here comes Alistair. Big knock-up. He's going to knock Seize into that back line. He might be the sacrifice here, but he is actually going to be able to get away after the hero's entrance comes in from Nova. Dread's going to get taunted up and nearly gets low. Nova with the big shield, but it doesn't look like it's enough to get him away from harm's way. The kill does go to the side of Afreeca after all the fight.
Afreeca should have disengaged way earlier. Seize could have just flashed much earlier, but he tried to be greedy around his flash. Now they're going to lose the maximum. That's a sort of mistake that's not the worst, but it is the likely one for Jin Air. Baron's still very healthy. A lot of people can poke around it, but Kiin is still a monster.
That he is. Just going to world end here, try to zone everybody out. Should be successful to do so. Nearly kills Lindarang.
Seize is spotted.
Trying to come in from the top side. They're trying to delay this one. The kick comes in. Dread is able to get him away. Comes in, smites it down. And the Baron will go to the way of Afreeca. Nicely played.
Another one of those unforced errors this time on the side of Jin Air. They conspired to lose some. There was multiple times where they could have gotten out without any deaths, but just with some summoners used. 2 re-engages, too many. They lose the Baron from that, and now the hope of ever getting lane control back means the Elder Drake 6 stack is looking more and more likely. The map control is looking almost impossible, and it's just as we were on the cusp of the items being done for their carries. Remember, they could have disengaged here as well, but Nova goes back in, greedy for a kill onto Dread. If he knew the stopwatch was there, if he had it over, he wouldn't have done it. He goes down. Free could take the Baron. Too easy on the back end. Suddenly, it might not matter that 2-item Callista and 2-item Corki are ready to go.
Eventually, the gold lead just gets too large for one team, and the scaling begins to matter less and less. Until, of course, we do make it to 40-odd minutes, but knowing Afreeca, they know their win conditions as well. They're going to want to push this one in, as Senan is looking for a cheeky Hex flash over the wall, but Lindarang will be smart about that one and avoid it for now.
So hard to respond to this pressure, though. Jin Air want a group. They have to force something. They're trying.
Well, they did get the flash away from aiming. Probably the best they could have got in that situation.
Means that 3-lane pressure becomes 2-lane pressure, and remember, Jin Air want to fight with their shields as a 5. That's why they have to hard engage, otherwise they're split to death.
Grace has to come down to protect in the bottom lane up against Kiin, which means that that mid inner turret is going to go down. would have been hard to keep that one either way, as Afreeca just trying to take all these inner turrets first before moving on to the inhibitor turrets and next objectives.
The third game is so likely here. Jin Air need to find a way to get 3 honest fights, and Afreeca want to fight dirty and play 3 lanes. That's so hard to do. Baron buff is there. The Drake stacking is going to become a problem. Everything amplified to the maximum after that pick onto the Galio and Baron. While Grace and Root are strong, not the best wave clearers, so it does take a while to work through these minions, and we still have a minute worth of Baron on the side of Afreeca Freecs.
Certainly is a long time, and a big Baron power play so far. Kiin threatening down there, but with the Karma in his back pocket, Grace should be just fine. Question is, will the inhibitors be fine on all of these pushes, as mid-turret just going to melt, nobody able to stop that push, and it looks like Afreeca will move on to try to take their first inhibitor.
Pretty tutorial stuff here for Afreeca. They can play 3 lanes, and Jin Air's comp can't answer 3-lane push, so Baron buff is the ultimate equalizer here, no rumble required. Brook pushes up and top, turrets falling everywhere. Can Jin Air do anything?
Well, a package comes out, but that's not going to help too much. Brook gets a couple of autos there onto Kiin, but sees threatening from the south. They will back off for now.
And with flashes down on people like Galio and Jarvan, best case scenario of engage looking pretty honest. Looks pretty like something that can be easily repelled and disengaged from Afreeca. So Jin Air having that spot where you're losing your inhibitors, losing the game, and not even being able to fight for anything.
Oh, Seas misses the flag, and Drag has to go forward to his death eventually, and the 2 inhibitors going down certainly felt like an eventuality, but Afreeca trying to stretch it into more even without the Baron. After that kill does come in, looking for their 3rd inhibitor in the bottom side, and still feels like Jin Air don't have much they can do in terms of stopping this one now 4v5. Just gonna have to Valkyrie away to safety and let everything fall.
Just waiting to see that game timer. Feels like that's the only question left for Afreeca Freecs in game number 2. Don't think Jin Air have the ability to turn this game. I don't think, even if you gave another 2,000 gold to Kalista and Corki, I still think they're too far behind to come back in. With the map state, with the fact that, actually I would wait for Elder here. If I was Afreeca, I wouldn't try to rush this one down. That's the LS analysis that I think is sometimes a bit overblown, but I definitely would have done it here, because you're really liking the scenario you're in right now. We watch the replay in this particular part. It's just Cease being caught with his pants down. The W arms, he goes down. The base in complete tatters. The hopes of the Glad Plane, they're not gone, but they're fading, Valdez.
Yeah, we're certainly getting some turbulence in this series, as all of the lanes are going to be pushing in now. Imagine having a Baron power play into a Elder power play afterwards would have been much better.
Now, we can hope for one thing. Brook has successfully stolen Kalista ult. Therefore, we could see the scientifically proven best Lee Sin play of all time. It could happen.
That's our hope for this game now.
That's the only thing left. We just need to know if we'll see it.
That's all we got.
I would be very tilted if we didn't see at least one of them. It's like when you play the Ballista comp and you don't get the sick hooks with the Fate's Call. Come on. Science has never been this stacked onto the side, Lee Sin. Dread, show it to us. I need to know what a Dread Lee Sin kick looks like.
Hold on, he's got to do Krugs. We have important things to do that don't involve a Fate's Call right now.
Don't worry, Lucian's going to get blue and the Gromp.
Hey, you got to farm up, you know?
Why? Why do you have to?
You got to get that Skrilla.
The only valid excuse for this is that they're doing comms about the next game. And they're just conversing about game number 3. Usually that's what you do from a losing perspective, but otherwise feels unnecessary to put any 50-50s on the board. You don't want to lose a smite and lose control of a game that is so far into your control. You have all the Drakes, you have all of the map control. But you're at 2 mana, that's a lot smarter. You know that Jin Air haven't been able to push up, so at least now the Baron is 100%.
Everybody on the side of Jin Air just grouping to try to stop double super minions from getting into the base. Means that the Baron is free.
Oh no. The Kalista ult timed out.
It's okay. You could get it again.
Look,
he's going to get it now.
I'm going to be very angry if he doesn't.
Well, Kalissa's in the base. You can see that Root is trying expertly to avoid this from happening.
Trying to stay out of ult range of the enemy Silas. Come on,
All
Brook.
right, here we go.
Come on, Brook. Steal it. Steal it.
It's right there. Hey, come on, buddy. No.
You had one job. Well,
as, Senan had one job, and so did Tease. He goes in with the stopwatch and is not going to die just yet. Finally does go down as Grace and Root are desperately trying to do damage. Down will go the Alistair. They still have that Galio engaged, desperately trying to keep their turrets alive. But so far it is a 1-for-1 as Lindarang going to get low. Nova's going to get low. Take a look at Root on the left side. Is going to be burst down eventually. It's all up to Grace now. Still does have Lindarang with him, but you can see the rest of them are going to be able to burst down the Corki. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to my first Game 6 of the Spring 2019 as Afreeca are able to tie it up here up against Jin Air in the second game.
Important update for the fans. I watched for the Fates call Lee Sin play. It sucked. It was terrible. It was not good. It did happen. We're never going to talk about that again. But Afreeca Freecs were able to pick up the victory here. They kind of gift-wrapped it a little bit, Jin Air, predictably from behind with this draft. They went too far, and they even got some chance. There was a bit of nope, sorry stuff going on when it came to actually getting the pick onto the Galio, but he went in, he went in for Valhalla, and unfortunately, he was taken down. So was the Baron, and Jin Air GreenWings end up losing game number 2, and that means the Glad Plane, which we thought we saw, was it Mirage? It's possible.
It's cloudy skies nowadays. There's a lot of dusty air here in Korea. It's possible that we were just seeing things through the clouds, through the smoke, but could have been just smoke and mirrors. We'll have to wait and see for game number 3, game number 6 of the night, which is kind of interesting as well. But yeah, they tried to play that comp where they tried to scale, but just a couple of mistakes. Kind of what we were used to on the side of Jin Air. Eventually does come through once again.
But it just didn't really seem like they knew what to do with the Karma lane, because Karma was way down dogging it in CS against a melee opponent. That shouldn't happen. You want to avoid it, but they were pathing around top a bit. It seemed a bit muddy. It seemed a bit, I could play that when it came to the overall 5th pick, and then the play was disconnected. And that part's not so surprising. It's Jin Air GreenWings. They've been struggling, but unfortunately this comp just didn't come together. So back to ease of execution S+, please, in game number 3.
Maybe take a Malphite the next time around.
Yeah, there we go.
Just click your buttons that are basically targetable.
Yep.
And, or targeted, and try to go for the win.
That is what we're hoping for. I think we have a couple of stats to show you before we get to load into game number 6 of the night. We show you the numbers. Corki did the most meaningless 22,500 damage in the history of the world. Silas did no damage, and yet was a better champion than Corki this game, much to your depression. And, yeah.
Right in the bus again.
Well, the bus was definitely all Afreeca Freecs. It showed up late, came in fashionably late, but 3 minutes on was just rolled through, and 33 minutes later, it could only be an Afreeca Freecs victory in game number 2.
Well, curious to see what Jin Air can do on the blue side for game number 3. Will they bring back some of that magic from the first game of this best of 3 and maybe get this plane off the ground? We'll be excited to see if it is possible, but we'll have to take a look after this break.